Hello, I am Penguin Welder, and today we will be looking at the information released about the Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition. In the background you will see some highlights and lowlights from my first season playing multiplayer with the Chaos Tamed and the Dead Funny. But let's get right into the information. Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition will be released in summer 2017 as a standalone game for PC, PlayStation and Xbox, and the current price is said to be around the €40 mark, or your regional equivalent. On top of many features and improvements to the game, which we will be discussing, there will be 8 new teams released. They will be Halflings, Goblins, Ogres, Vampire, Underworld, Amazon, Pro Elves, and Kislev Circus, which is going to be a reskin of the Slan team, following the Slan team rules. A reskin because Games Workshop are removing Slan from their universe. With the Legendary Edition, you'll also receive all of the original teams and the DLC, so that'll be a total of 24 teams. If you already own Blood Bowl 2, you'll be able to purchase an upgrade from Blood Bowl 2 Vanilla to Legendary for around 50% of the price. However, this will not include the DLC teams. You'll just be receiving the 8 new teams that I've just mentioned and all of the improvements that come with the Legendary Edition. There'll also be a DLC bundle released just prior to the release of Legendary for around €20. None of these prices have been confirmed, they are a ballpark figure. On the subject of teams, you'll have the option to make 2 merc teams, mercenary teams, an elf and a dark team. So you'll be able to mix players from all of the elf or all of the dark teams and create your ultimate elves or ultimate dark teams. These will not be for league use, they'll be specifically flagged. So unless a league administrator allows those teams in, they'll be a little bit of fun. You can play friendlies with your mates or set up your own tournaments to showcase those teams. There'll also be 2 teams of star players available to you. They have currently been described as a good star player team and a bad star player team, also not available for use in leagues. All of the remaining star players in the Blood Bowl universe will be released, including the secret weapons. This will be a total of 50 star players in the game, although they have said that these may not all be ready by summer 2017 when Legendary releases, but they'll put placeholders in the game until they are ready, and they'll be added. There'll be a team editor put into the game, which will give you the ability to make a team with infinite money and infinite XP, so you can build the best possible team, or a team that you might really enjoy playing. You might have never seen a level 6 Minotaur before and want to create one and put him in a team and have some fun with it. Again, these teams will not be available to just be thrown into leagues online, or certainly not the Championship League. But the other interesting thing about the team editor is that it would allow you to create a tournament for, say, teams of a team value starting at 1200 instead of 1000, or maybe 1800, and you would be able to buy as many players as you like with the infinite money. And the infinite XP side of it, or SSP, means that you would be able to give specific players specific skills. So like I say, you could create a tournament for 1200 team value teams, and you could put block on all of your Chaos Warriors. We'll go on to discuss the extra features for the league and tournament management side of things. But before I do those and the game features, they have said that approximately a third of all of the features that they're adding to Legendary Edition will also be available in the vanilla game. It's not entirely clear which features will be in vanilla and which won't, but it's nice to see that they're also supporting those who bought the vanilla game. Starting off with leagues, when Legendary releases, they will be announcing a new World Cup, which will be an improvement on the previous World Cup, having taken feedback and seen the successes and failures of the last one. So those of you who enjoy playing at a high level will enjoy that announcement. There'll also be other options for leagues and tournaments. There'll be a resurrection system you'll be able to put in. So that will mean there'll be no permanent injuries and no SPP granted. So if you want to play with base teams that are unaffected by being stomped on, then you can institute that. There'll be, for tournaments, there'll be a Swiss system added to the game, which will be really good for larger player pools, where everybody will play everyone and they'll be matched against people of the same amount of wins and losses, and the team with the highest wins will end up taking the cup. There will be a manual seeding added to the game, so tournament admins will be able to seed teams, which will work really well with the Swiss system for the first game, because then seed 1 and 2 will play each other first, 3 and 4, etc. Really good system there. Other admin tools will be that an admin can add in an AI team in the event that somebody drops out of a tournament. And this is especially useful for admins who find it currently difficult to assign an admin win. If you do run tournaments yourself, you'll know exactly how helpful that will be. Further options for admin wins are that admins will be able to add SPP or skills to players on a team that is assigned an admin win. So rather than just getting the 2-star players at the end of a admin assigned win, you'll also be able to, for example, add 3 points to 2 players for the theoretical touchdowns that were scored, or, as I say, skills can be awarded. For leagues, admins will be able to ban specific players or coaches. So if you've got a particularly toxic coach or somebody who at the drop of a hat just keeps conceding, you can ban that player from joining your leagues in the future, meaning they won't be able to just create a new team and keep coming in and ruining the experience for everybody else. Those of you who have watched some of my recent games will know how frustrating it can be when your opponent concedes. There will also be chat rooms added to league lobbies. So if you're playing in a league with a couple of hundred players, you'll be able to talk to them before your game starts or when you're searching for an opponent, which will add a greater sense of community. You'll be able to find out if there's anybody online, if it's worth sitting around and waiting, trying to find an opponent. Really good stuff, that. And that leads us into some of the in-game features, because there will also be an in-game chat changes. You'll be able to mute players, so if somebody again is being particularly toxic or is distracting you while you're trying to administrate your players, you'll be able to mute them. And there'll also be post-game chat added to the game, so when the final whistle blows, there'll be a period of time where you can continue conversing with your opponent, so you'll be able to throw out those GGs. You'll be able to talk about that Hail Mary pass that just won or lost you the game, which is a nice touch. There'll also be a pause feature added to the game. Now this, I didn't fully understand how this works, but my understanding is that either player can pause the game, but also either player can unpause the game, meaning if somebody's constantly hitting that pause button, you can just mitigate that yourself. You can just hit the unpause. So it's more of a agreement or an arrangement between the two players. Hey guy, there's been a knock at the door, just need to run off for 30 seconds, and if you don't want to gain an unfair advantage over your opponent, you can respect that pause. Or if somebody is constantly hitting the pause button, you can just say, no, this is no good, and unpause it. Really good system, that, especially for playing friendlies against your mates. You'll be able to say in the chat, hey guy, phone's ringing, give me 1 second. Really good stuff, that. Here's a change that is only a possible change, something they've indicated that they can do, so they probably will, and it's to rename players that come into your team as a result of either being purchased as a mercenary, a journeyman, or as the result of a resurrection. A raise the dead. When you bring in a zombie as a necromantic team or something like that, you'll be given the option to give them a name at that moment, which is kind of cool if, like me, you enjoy theming your team names. So hopefully they'll bring that in, but it's not been fully confirmed yet. Some changes to the on-screen information. At the start of the game, we'll be getting more information about how the kickoff events resolved, and you'll also be able to see the fame of your team indicated on the screen at the beginning rather than just having to see yours and your opponents at the end. So you'll know how the kickoff results occurred, why you won or lost those extra rerolls. There'll also be the option to switch between how you see the percentage chance for, say, let's talk for example about a dodge. At the moment it might say 67% chance of a dodge. You'll be able to change that so you can see the dice rolls. So it will say, a 3 plus, a 4 plus, a 5 plus for a dodge. So whichever system you prefer, whichever one means more to you, you will be able to see that on the screen as an option. Another possible change, something they've said they can do and would hope to, this is as a result of feedback from some of the community they've been speaking to, is the icons that display above players' heads to indicate which skills they have, for example block. You'll be possibly able to disable the default skills, so you'll only see the skills that a player has picked up after they were created. So if you already know that beastmen come with horns, rather than cluttering up your screen, you particularly see this with the big guys, your minotaurs, trolls, yetis, you'll be able to disable those default skills and clean up the screen a little bit, rather than have a player hiding behind a great big wall of icons, which is a nice option. Something else I hope they bring in. More options are better, right? Another gameplay element is that they're going to add more options to not use skills. So for example, at the moment it gives you the option of whether you want or not want to use stand firm, which can be very powerful when it comes to running an attacker with frenzy into a trap, into an unfavourable dice roll. And they're going to add more of those in. The ones that were mentioned in the presentation I saw were pass, fend, grab and catch. So these and possibly others you're going to have the option not to use. You can see some like fend, very similar to stand firm in why you would or not want to use it, and there are other options there. Coming to some visual changes to the game, there's going to be new cheerleaders, so you can all stop shouting about that on the Steam threads and forums. Not for all of the teams, but there are going to be some new cheerleaders, and another cool thing about that is that they're going to be wearing the same kit as your team, so you'll know that they're your cheerleaders. So we can all look forward to a nice set of Nurgle cheerleaders wearing your team's kit. Lovely. There'll also be a new Khemri stadium added, because of course on the 14th of February we'll be receiving the Khemri team. We're going to have a new stadium for them. Some of the things that are not changing, for those of you who might be wondering, there are going to be no changes to the rules. There have been some, in the official Blood Bowl League rules, there have been some recent changes. None of those are coming in to the Legendary Edition, so you'll be playing the game you know and love. There'll be no changes to the inducement system or to the bank system. Now, those of you wondering about single player, there's going to be a few changes. There's going to be a brand new single player campaign mode, and to me, from what I heard in the presentation, it sounds very similar to the campaign in Blood Bowl 1, kind of like an open map style thing where you can bounce from place to place playing games and overcoming little tournaments and leagues. That will be infinite in its scope, so you can continue to play in that for as long as you want. So you can obviously with that build an absolutely crazy team and go around the world stomping everyone you meet. There are going to be some improvements to the AI. Those of you who play single player will know that the AI does make some very questionable decisions and doesn't seem to be aware of the turn that it is. You know, it might shuffle towards the line and throw a few blocks on turn 8 rather than just score. We're going to see some improvements there, which will make it a little bit harder to play against, which is a good thing. And also, you're going to be able to save the game, and that's also great. Games can take anywhere between half an hour and an hour against the AI, so it'd be nice to be able to just pop a save. And you'll optionally be able to turn off aging, which is a nice touch for those of you who like to play extended campaigns, and certainly works well with the new game mode. As I said before, for those of you who don't know, Chaos Dwarves and Khemri will be joining us on the 14th of February. And coming back to you Steam Thread chatters, Chaos Dwarves will not come with their iconic hats. And this isn't something that Cyanide and Focus particularly want, but they have to do that because of Games Workshop IP. That's about it for the changes here. If you enjoyed the video or you want to see some of my gameplay, please subscribe. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments section below of the new changes in the upcoming Legendary Edition. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.